Thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thanks for having me.
Question 1. What is your government name?
It's Root.
How did we get to Ruby? Sorry.
Ruby's a pet name. It was a DJ that I used to hang out with many years ago. We went to an all day in Peckham. We were walking in and she's like, oh, I can't call you Root. We've got to think of something. And I had on these sequin sandals that were red. And she looked and she said, yeah, we're going to call you Ruby. And it worked. And that was it. And the name stuck. It became a pet name. Everyone used to call me Ruby. I am the head chef for Ruby Tuesday Soul Food. I'm based in the 4 provinces. I cook the Afro-Caribbean food. You know, like your purpose in life or something. I mean, after having the children and raising children, and then it became, who am I? What am I? I found, obviously, after raising children, yes, I can cook. And then when I was younger, I'd be the oldest daughter in the UK, so I'll be being, you know, typical African home. Be doing the food chores and cooking and so forth. So I've always had that skills in me. Now that I'm doing it, I don't know, it's, I thank the Lord, because it wasn't me sitting down like, oh yeah, I'm gonna open up a business and yeah, I'm gonna do this. No, it came from being at a party, at a festival, Mantua Festival. But I remember being there and hungry, and I walked down the field, picked up a stew peas. Now, it smelled like the real Jamaican stew pea. Flo is a guy, he does falafels in Galway. He's got a restaurant now. He used to have a little food truck, and I picked up and I was eating. I'm like, there's no meat. I went back and they were like, show me the sign, vegetarian. I was like, oh shit. So the following year, they were doing the launch party, and I went to the launch party. When I was going into the entrance, I started doing a little character. Yo, brethren, I can't have reggae music and don't have proper food. And they just turned around and said, why don't you do it? So they were like, you do it. And I remember ringing my little sister. I was like, I've just gone and blagged myself about food. She could just do the jerk chicken. I thought, oh, yeah. And then I started, and from there, I had this gentleman come in, Ernie Wiley. He's a food critic, and he had come into the Berlin D2, and they didn't tell me that he was a food critic. He was talking to the owner, and I went over to him and he said, oh, this is such and such. And I said, oh, hello. And we had a chat, and he was like, oh, do you want to try something? I goes, yeah, you've got to try some food. So I gave him food. He was trying everything, and I brought out bits and pieces because the owner was saying, yeah, bring him, let him try all different things. So they didn't tell me at the time I'd been interviewed. And then after he left, he said, lovely talking to you. He actually came and said bye, and then left. I was in the kitchen. And then later on, the other owner come along. He goes, that was a brilliant interview. I goes, what are you talking about? I didn't grasp what he's on about. He goes, oh, he's a food critic. Oh, that was it. My nerves went. I was like, no. And then he had a photographer come in the next day to take a picture. And then these 2 ladies they used to come in regularly for food. And I asked them if they don't mind taking a picture. So they end up being in the Times as well for that. That was my first time of realising, oh, okay, this, excuse my language, this shit's getting real. Like, I was like, okay, you know, like, okay, here we go. And he's done a real great, I haven't got my glasses, so I can't read out to you. But I remember being nervous to camera because my face in that picture, I'm like, oh God, so from this, it started getting out the grapevine. I started having other people that want to do a story about me and interview me. So this kind of blew me. Because I had been underground for a few years. My dear, good brethren, Richie Taplin, he's passed away now. Richie got me in to they were doing reggae night, so he's like, come in and cook food for these guys, and I would cook while they play music. And then from there, I helped a friend out. Brendan Evan used to own Jamaica Joe Galway. We made friendship in a festival, Mantua, which was my first ever cooking big in a major festival. And then he started a restaurant from there. But then he used to work at Electric Picnic. I went and helped him, and he asked me if I can come and do Body and Soul. I did Body and Soul with them, and they loved it. And then that's where another friend had introduced me to another person. It's all about networking, life is. Introduced me to a guy that used to have a cafe near the forecourts, St. Micken Street, near the market. And I started doing a Saturday Oli pop-up. And that's where people started knowing about who I am. And that's how I got to meet Camille and a gentleman called Joseph. And Joseph and Camille asked if we could do a brunch, so I collaborated with them. And we did a brunch in the Berlin D2. And from the Berlin D2, unfortunately, the fire happened in my pop-up kitchen. They lost everything. My funny anyway, born out of fire. A new thing, we said, well, I'll start in the Berlin D2, and that's how we were born, 2018. That was going really well. After the publicity, I was getting loads of, free advertisements coming aboard. Instagram wasn't as big then. It was still Facebook. Instagram was still coming up as in being the main popular thing, and I did that. And even the Times used to have a thing, Time magazine. They used to have an index, what's great for the week and what's buzzing happening, and I made it to the list of what's cool to go for Ruby Tuesday, and that got me in there. And then so that's when I knew, okay, I've now come from underground, I've gone a little bit commercial. Okay, let's up our game and keep the consistency, make sure it's on point, keep the flavour the same. I cooked in Guinness grounds. Universal were helping Def Jam launch in Ireland, and they wanted food, so they asked me to come and cook. However, to go and cook, I have to go into meet the executive chef of Guinness, and he was happy to let me use their kitchen space. So I had to get the meat through them. Although I use halal meat, or most of my customers are happy. They always ask us halal. So I stopped them and we got my meat into Guinness. We were there. We did it in the open gate and it was really great. So then I showed the main executive chef how to make the Jamaican patty. So he put it on their menu. So 2021, I was on the Guinness menu on their website for the Jamaican patty Ruby Tuesday. So it was funny because some people would go to the open gate and they would ring and say, Ruby, no way. So what, you're trying to say I could get curry goat in Guinness? I'm like, no, it's not there, no. Over the years, as I had my own home, I started cooking more Jamaican. I just love their ways. I love their ways. So I have the utmost respect. And anything I do about Jamaica, I'm doing on a positive. The food, I love it. I'm an oxtail and I love oxtail stew. The way the Jamaicans make it with the butter beans in it, I can sit down with a bowl of that and just eat that, suck out the bone. And then curry goat. Curry goat, yes, I eat in the meal, but I normally eat curry goat when you're in a dance. This is my sticker. That was remembering the Berlin D2. I'll leave one of these because this is one of the first original stickers that I started sticking on takeaway boxes, and it was my first ever batch because I then later on I've changed to a lighter green colour, but this was the Berlin D2. The caricature is done by a gentleman called Simon Dalton, a friend, Richie Taplin, Lord rest his soul. That was my good soul brethren, but he was the one that was nagging at me because he would get me into events that he was doing, and he was fed up typing Ruby Tuesday soul food, so he wanted to get something. He goes, you gotta get something, man. I have worked formally in customer service and I like to be friendly. I just think it's nice. I just treat people how I would like to be treated. I know some people say, well, you have smiled so much for I'm smiling because no matter what, I'm still here to tell the tale.
How does food help us communicate?
Well, the flavour, if everyone likes, if you meet someone and says, oh, I love jerk chicken, you'd be like, yeah, so do I. You enjoy you have the same taste, like I had these two ladies on Saturday. Was it Saturday? Yeah, Saturday. They came in for a gig. They were sat over there, and I don't know. There's some people that are just fan of wings that go to different places and try wings, and they were crazy about my wings. They were like, "This is amazing," and they actually started because I've added you. I followed you on Instagram straight away. She's like, "This is amazing to be back." She's telling friends about the wings. And then next to me there was another couple sitting there eating, so they ended up having a conversation about the food, and they were telling them that they've had the oxtail and the curry goat. So brings people into the conversation. The young lady that I asked you to take a picture of, her and her hubby, they come in regularly for, they love the curry goat, and then they have a wrap, and I don't know, they've gone into, and I actually tried it, because my wrap is, I call it meat massive, so it's got, it's made out of a jerk mayo with the mixed leaves, and then you've got the salsa, and then you've got the jerk chicken broken into it and put into a wrap, and they actually dip it into the gravy of the curry goat. And I was like, right, okay. And I tried it myself. I was like, whoa. So I was like, okay, that's a new one. And she was, first of all, she's like, when you're giving that, you need to give people a little ramekin of the curry goat. And I was like, okay. But someone said, when they said it second time, I thought, let me try it. And I tried it, and I was like, wow, this is really a nice taste. It's a real, so that's a, yeah, well, and then the food, as you were saying, that's what brings us into more having something in common. You know, taste helps a lot, you know. Meeting families that drink here. As I was telling you earlier on, the lady, her and her husband was here yesterday, and obviously it was very quiet, so I joined them when the match was on. And long story, she was telling me a story about how one of her former work colleague, she was surprised to see him in her local, and it turned out that he hadn't come here for the bar, he had come here with his date for the food. That was the reason why they were here. So it was like, it was nice to hear that. And then her nephew, being Australian, finding out that I've moved into here through the social media, encouraging them to come and have my food, that the food is really great. And she was telling me that, you know, moments like that, so I was like, okay, I'm on the right journey. It's new, and here we go.
Where is Ruby Tuesday's soul food? And what's the future?
What's the future like? Obviously, I would love to be in another county as well, because I have customers all over. And a lot of people think, oh, it's just Afros. The majority of my customers would be Irish, that are a good 70% actually are Irish, that would appreciate my food, that come in and eat. So yeah, the whole idea is to be in another area as well, because I've cooked in Limerick, I've cooked in Galway, Cork, because once you've got a kitchen that's home, as in you don't have to worry that you've got to manoeuvre here and manoeuvre there, then from there I can start, when you plant a seed somewhere, obviously once the seed is planted, you've got to let it start harvesting, little petals come out, and then take it from there.